All right, boys and girls, parents, hello. This is Dr. Davis again with our 5NBT2 journal insert. Now, we're doing two journal inserts for this standard for this video only, and then we will have the additional sheets for NBT2 because there are various components to it. So, we're going to start off with knowing our powers of 10 and what multiplying and dividing by powers of 10 all consist of, and then we're going to move into actually working out problems of multiplying and dividing decimals and powers of 10. So let's start off with what are the powers of 10. Well, the powers of 10 are what we see on this page right here. Now, if you're going to turn to the next available blank page in your math journal, make sure in the top left-hand corner you have the 5NBT2 standard, and then you have powers of 10 as the title to this journal insert. At the very top of this circle right here, you would put your page number. Remember I told you every page number is going to be different in everybody's journal. It's going to be probably one or two pages off because some people have additional resources in their math journal to help them. So that is why I left my page number blank so that you will not get confused and say, oh gosh, I'm on the wrong page number. Go ahead and continue on how you have it in your journal. So first, the powers of 10, something that you probably noticed that is going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The small numbers right here are called the exponents. What I'm going to do right now for you is to highlight the exponents with our powers of 10. Now, the large number that you see, I am going to underline that, and I'm going to underline all the 10s. Because the 10s, these are known as the base numbers when you have an exponent. But we have a powers of 10. You have a base number, you have an exponent. So right here, we're going to make a note. The large number, which is the 10, this will always be known as our base. Base. That's kind of the foundation. That is what you're going to be multiplying according to what the exponent number is. So because I have 10 to the first power, this 10 is my base. And then the itty bitty little number up top, we're going to make that number, let's see, purple. The base number goes right here, the top, where you're facing you, the top right-hand corner of that base number, which in this case in powers of 10, our base number will always be 10 when we are working with powers of 10. This, I'm going to put an arrow right here to show that is the exponent. Exponent. So when you have a power of 10, you have the number 10 as your base number, and the number above it right here is the exponent. The exponent tells you a couple of things. So I'm going to make a note. In this case, the exponent tells you, yes you, the mathematician, that you will need to base number. Okay. So the exponent tells you that you will need to multiply the base number by itself that many times. So for example, we will have the base number 10. And then since we already have 10, 1 through 6 right here, I'm going to say the base number, the exponent is going to be 7 in this example. So they may say, what is 10 to the 7th power or the 7th power of 10? Now notice how I'm reading, I'm saying it. When I was talking about the powers of 10, I will say 10 to the first power or the first power of 10. 10 to the second power or the second power of 10. Either way you prefer to read it is up to you. Everyone has their preference. Normally I catch myself saying 10 to the first power, 10 to the second power, 10 to the third power. That's just how I roll. But either way you would like to say it is perfectly fine with me. And then you'll also have to write it that way sometimes with particular standards. So at the bottom, I will make a note later on. Make a start right here to remind myself what to write, how you can say the powers of 10. So for example, we have 10 to the 7th power. My exponent is 7. And 10 is my base. That's the big dog. Now, because I have these two components together, I'm going to highlight this because that's the exponent. Same color I highlighted over here. Then I'm going to underline this base. And then I'm going to box this in because it is the same thing we did over here. Now, I'm going to multiply 10 by itself 7 times. One more. I'm going to squeeze it over here. Sorry about that. Apologize on the right hand side of the page, right side of my journal. So I have 10 7 times. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 10 to the 7th power. Now, I know you're probably thinking, my goodness, how can I solve or evaluate 10 to the 7th power? What is that? Well, let Dr. Davis show you a little trick. The exponent tells you how many zeros to have in your final product when you multiply 10 by itself 7 times. So I have the number 1, and because I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 zeros there. What's also telling us that our ending product has 7 zeros is this exponent right here of 7. They go hand in hand. Your base number is telling you what you're multiplying by itself. So 10 is my base number. The exponent is telling me how many zeros I'm going to have in my product. So I'm basically making sure that I have this number of zeros represented in my final product because it's the same thing as my exponent and my power of 10. So 10 to the 7th power is 10 million. That's my answer. That is what I got. It is correct because the number of zeros I have here, which are 7, represents the ha, bet you couldn't read that, good, Joe. Let me fix that for you. So all I wrote was the 7 zeros represent the exponent of 7 in our power of 10. That's all I wrote. Now I'm going to make that note so you guys can remember. Let's go ahead and put a little cloud around it. This is the statement by itself. Now, when reading a power of 10. Let's block all this in so we don't get mixed up. You can say this. The 7th power of 10, or you can say 10 to the 7th power. And we've already discussed this, parents and students. We've already talked about this in class because we started working on NBT 1, and then we were working with exponents in that first standard. So we've already talked about how to say 10 to the first power, how to read powers of 10. So this is just a friendly reminder for yourself. You can write it down if you choose to. I would highly suggest that you do write that down so you can have that as a reference. So what I want you guys to do with our flaps in our journal, we have 10 to the first, 10 to the second, 10 to the third, 10 to the fourth, 10 to the fifth, and 10 to the sixth power. Under each flap, you're going to tell me what that product is when you represent 10 to the first power, 10 to the second power. Now, a common misconception that students have is that they will try to multiply the base number and the exponent together. That's a no-no. We don't do that. That is not correct. We do not multiply 10 times 2 or 10 times 1 or 10 times 3. That is not going to be correct when Dr. Davis is evaluating your work. Remember, the exponent tells you how many times to multiply the base number by itself. So because it's 3, I'm going to have 10 times 10 times 10, and then a power of 10 that has 3 zeros, and the product is 1,000. So let me show you. Let's do the first one. It's pretty easy. 10 to the first power. Pull that flat back, and then you're going to write 10 times 1, which equals 10. There is an exponent of 1 in 10 to the first power. So you should know now that every time you see 10 to the first power, the product that pops into your mind is 10. Now, when you get to 10 to the second power, this is where we're actually going to see how our pattern is starting to form. So because I have an exponent of 10, that means I'm going to have 2 10s. So 10 times 10, there are 2 zeros in our problem, 10 times 10. So I'm going to say that the product is 100. We all know that 10 times 10 is 100. So 10 to the second power equals 100. There are 2 zeros in 100. Now we're going to do the third one, and I want you guys to tell me what is happening between the 10 to the first power and then to 10 to the third power. What do you see that is increasing? What do you notice that's going on? What's the connection you're making with the exponent and the product that you're getting under each flap? So we have 10 to the third power, or the third power of 10. Pull this flat back. Now I'm going to multiply 10 by itself 3 times. 10 times 10 equals 100. 100 times 10 equals 1,000. So 10 to the third power is 1,000. Okay? So let's pull all 3 of these flaps back and let's check out the patterns that we're seeing. Well, I see that my exponent was 10 to the first power, so 10 times 1 is 10. 10 to the second power is 10 times 10, so my product is 0. There was 1 0 in the product of 10, this power of 10, and there are 2 zeros in this power of 10. My exponent is 2. I have 2 zeros. The third one, 10 to the third power of 10. 10 times 10 times 10, which equals 1,000. There are 3 zeros in the product of 1,000. That should be an aha moment. So I am going to check on Monday and see if you guys can tell me or write in your journal what does 10 to the fourth power mean, what is 10 to the fifth power product, and what is 10 to the sixth power product. And then I want you to write those. Same thing we did up here for 10 to the third, 10 to the second, 10 to the first. I would love for you guys to do that for 4, 5, and 6. Under the flap, I should see what the products are for each one of these powers of 10. Alright, so that is the side we're done with. If you need to go ahead and pause the video so you can copy down this information. What I'm about to do now is just zoom in a little bit so you guys can have each part copy that I wrote down in my journal, because this is a good reference for you guys. You can always refer back to this when you're doing your iReady homework at nighttime and you're doing classwork, you can pull out your journal, say, hey, MBT2, let me go back and see the notes that we have in our journal to help me through this activity or this lesson. So that's the left side of our journal with the powers of 10 for NBT2. Now we're going to move on over to the right hand side, and I am going to do a separate video for this and upload it right after I upload this one I just finished. So it won't be so long, there'll be smaller videos. So go ahead and get this, cut it out, glue on the right hand side, so when I start the next video, it will already be in there ready for you to start filling out your information under your flags. Alrighty.